Hello, welcome to the Spencer channel. My name is Julian. I'm the person who runs the Spencer channel. You know me. Today, we're going to be analyzing a chess game between Paul Morphy and Duke and Account. The Duke and Account were playing black, while Paul Morphy is playing white. The reason that these three had played this chess game was because the Duke and Account, which were power or rich people when this game was played. The rich people we invited Paul Morphy out to play a game of chess. So while they're playing this game of chess, but it wasn't really an invite to play the game of chess. It was more of an invite to the opera house. So the invite to the opera house, Paul Morphy said, "Yeah, I want to go to watch an opera because that's what they found fun when they were alive." And they were like, "Yeah, I'll go watch it with y'all." The Duke and the Count had done this as a trap to lure Paul Morphy to play a chess game. So Paul Morphy had felt like he had to because he was invited to this opera house. He didn't have to pay for anything. So he's like, all right, I'll play a game. Even though he was retired from chess at his time because no one else could really compete with him. Now, I feel like if he was playing now, if he could play now, I feel like he would definitely still be in the top 12 players. I'm not going to say he's number one. They would have to play. But if he'd be able to study a little bit more, I feel like he'd do great. But you're going to see a very methodical game of developing pieces, attacking, even the sacrifice, which I'm not going to spring because it's, I don't know, 12 in the morning and I couldn't go to sleep, so I decided to record this. You don't need my explanation on my life. I'm doing it. But I'm going to record this. I'm going to go to bed. I might upload it tonight. Depends on how I edit it and stuff like that. Will I edit it? Only I will know. Actually, I'll probably tell you at the end if I'm editing it or not, because I'm like, I like editing this. This is unedited. No, it's probably be edited because it'll be a while, and it's already been 2 minutes and I've been yapping. So, I'm gonna stop this yapping. My head is itchy, and we'll get right in. Alright, what we're gonna be looking at is this game, the Opera House game. You don't have to worry about anything. Okay. So, Paul Morphy was playing white in this game, while the Duke and the Count were playing black. The Duke and the Count had two minds against Paul Morphy's 1-1 chess game. What this game looked like was very one, if not the most common opening position. Started with good old e4, e5. You know, common. You see it right up there, among other things. E4, e5, common position. Paul Morphy here was like, all right, let me just develop my knight. I just want to get my knight out. What all this does is it just develops your knight. It attacks this pawn here. This pawn is now under attack. But there's only one more thing, is the Duke of the Count said, all right, I'm going to defend this pawn. I want to keep my pawn in the center, keep control of the center, and now I have control of all of these squares. Paul Morphy said, okay, I'm just going to go right for the meat of the center. I want this game to go over fast, win or lose. So, he played b4. b4, I play this a lot, actually, in my chess club. I play against this a lot, where it goes knight, or knight pawn. I've seen some variation where it goes here, I play here, they go here. I go, all right, I'm just gonna go here, they do this. I think generally, if you were to take this, they take here, and then you will just get this knight out. They're forced to do something to get this out of the way, so they're probably gonna move it back. But I digress. Paul Morphy plays knight f3. The Duke and the Count play d6. Very standard. I like all these moves that are happening. They all make sense to begin the game. Why am I saying this? I don't know. So d6. Paul Morphy plays d4. d4 is really powerful just to get the game over fast. The Duke and the Count play bishop to g4. They're like, okay, if I'm going to do that, if you're going to do that, I'm going to play bishop g4, which allows a pin against a relative pin, rather, against the knight and this queen. So, if there's a relative pin here, meaning this knight, if you really wanted to, could move, but you're going to lose your queen later on. So Paul Morphy said, I want this to be no nonsense. I'm just going to take the center pawn. Center pawn was taken. The Duke and the Count take here. Paul Morphy takes back. This pawn takes here. Very simple chess. This is what you see in a lot of games, actually. A lot of games end up like this at the beginner level. not just beginner, later on higher advanced players, but they don't really get their queen out, and this like exchange in the center doesn't happen very often because they have so many lines that they can go through and have memorized. But I'm not that advanced. I'm only at 1,000, so this is going to be probably titled 1,000 Analyzes the Opera House Game. So the idea of all this was Paul Morphy wanted to attack the weakest pawn on the king side of both sides, which is the f pawn. The reason these f pawns are weak are because it's only guarded by the king. Well, now obviously this pawn is guarded by the queen, but that's the idea behind it. Is just so they can have. He doesn't want to be checkmated. He wants to checkmate his opponent on the f7 square. So Paul Morphy decides to bring out his bishop to c4, which is a very interesting idea because it's the idea of the scholar's mate. Right off the bat, the weakest pawn. The Duke and the King didn't want to lose, so they just developed their knight in front of it. But Paul Morphy really didn't care about that knight coming out. He still wanted to target that weak pawn, so he brings his queen to b3. b3 does the same exact idea, but minus the checkmate. He goes here, he doesn't defend it, he'll take, he'll probably, if he moves here, it'll be checkmate. If he moves here, it'll be checkmate. If this play well, I'll show you. They do, I don't know, this goes here, here, this is a checkmate. If it goes here, this is a checkmate. So that's the idea behind it. They still want to give a checkmate threat. But the Dukes see this because they're still pretty good chess players outside of anything. They probably still beat me, I won't lie to you. So they play queen to e7. They might not beat me. I'm not sure. I've definitely improved a lot recently. They play queen to e7 to defend this pawn. So now if I was to take this, they take here, I take their queen, they take back. Now I'm just down a bishop, which is not fun to play. If you're any color, any person, you're playing down a piece is really hard. So Paul Morphy was like, okay, I understand. I'm just going to develop my knights. And if there's anything wrong, please let me know. I forgot some of this. But you play a knight to c3. Just developing the knight to the center, defending this pawn, which is now under attack from this knight. Or defend this pawn. The idea is also to bring the knight into this attack to maybe target pawn here. It could be an idea of just bringing your pieces out, developing, and so I'm like, all right, let me go here. The Count and the Duke played c6. The idea was to kick this bishop. So they play here, bishop moves back to either here or here because they're like, okay, it's going to be under attack. I don't have to worry about anything. And he's forced to move back. Paul Morphy saw that. He was like, I don't care. I'm just going to bring my knight or my bishop to pin it to this queen. Another relative pin in the same game. Relative pins are going to happen a lot. You'll see them a lot. I see them a lot. Even in master level games, you'll see them a lot. They always look for pins, but always look for checks, captures, attacks. You know, normal ideas when you do puzzles, stuff like that. Puzzles are really good. I might do a puzzle stream soon, or I might just do a regular games, chess stream soon. Who knows? Go check it out. Spencer558 on Twitch. I will always have on there. Will I do analyze on there? Probably not, because I'm lazy. Who knows? I might do other things. So, alright. So I move Paul Morphy moves his bishop to pin this knight to the queen. So this is pinned. Okay. The Dukes were like, alright, that's pinned. I'm not worried about it right now. I'm worried about getting this bishop out of the way. So they tunnel vision on this bishop. Right off the bat. This tunnel vision actually cost them, I believe, the game, because they didn't understand it. By Paul Morphy, we sacrificed this knight. The reason Paul Morphy sacrificed this knight was because he was like, if this pawn takes back, I take here, give a check, they're forced to do something of blocking it, among other things, and that's exactly what happens. They take, the Count and the Duke take, Paul Morphy takes, gives this check, the king did not move. The knight comes here, he's blocked this pin, or this, and then Paul Morphy long castles. Like, well, why would Paul Morphy long castle? The reason Paul Morphy long castles is to put more pressure on this knight. It's forcing the Count and the Duke to respond by guarding it. Guarding a piece can be good, but in this case, it didn't matter what they guarded it with, because they're just going to take it with this rook. The reason they take it this rook is because if they take it with the queen, obviously they're just going to take the queen, and they're going to be down material. But if they take it with this rook, it's now pinned, and I can bring my other pieces into this attack. It might look like Paul Morphy is losing because he's now down 3 points of material because he's gave up a rook just for a knight. But in reality, it's all about king safety. Look where Paul Morphy's king is. Paul Morphy's king is completely safe, and now I'm targeting this, I'm targeting this, and I'm targeting this. But Black right now is playing without a rook and a bishop. If Black's playing without a rook and a bishop, who's really winning it? Paul Morphy. The reason Paul Morphy is winning is just because he has just a lot of pressure going on. So the Count and the Duke are like, all right, this is really bad. I really want to get this queens off the board because that will stop his attack completely. Some people like to autopilot and just take this queen. Trading this queen right now would actually put you in a losing position because now you're gonna lose this pawn. It'd be take. You'd have to come back to guard this. You'd come here to guard this. In this position, does it really matter when you can play bishop takes d7, forking the queen and the king? The idea is like, oh, it's not a fork because of this, right? But that leads to something in a second, which we'll talk about. I'll show you what happens. But the actual best move for Black here is to actually take this bishop and lose it to the rook. Because if he didn't do that, it would have led to something I'll show you in a sec. This happens. What do you do now? White or Black will probably take it with the knight, now leaving all this open. It can't come here, but now it's a queen and a bishop versus a knight, a bishop, and a rook. You know who's winning? Paul Morphy with an extra 3 points of material. It might not look like it, but Paul Morphy is completely winning in this position. So let's go back a second to this right here. The other move that the Count and the Duke actually did here was they moved knight to d7, taking on d7. Knight takes d7. I said that 3 times. Doesn't matter. You didn't see that. Actually, you did see that. But the only reason this doesn't work is because you're able to sacrifice the queen on b8, giving this check. If the king can't move anywhere, can't block at all, so you're forced to take this. And it allows for something amazing. And this is why we have something called the Opera House Mate, where this rook on d8 finally moves up to deliver a checkmate on d1, delivers a checkmate on d8. The reason this is a checkmate is because the king cannot come down at all, and the king cannot capture this rook because of this bishop that was originally here. This bishop was sitting here waiting to open up everything over here and deliver a strong attack. The reason you sacrifice this queen is obviously because this is forced. The most forcing move in chess is a check. And Paul Morphy said, I don't need my queen anymore because I have something even better. Checkmate. So that's why right here, the best move. If you were to move this here, it would actually just be checkmate. Or not really checkmate, but leading to mate pretty soon. With or you just win the queen. You know, simple things. If the he moves here, you take the queen, pawn takes back, check here, and then can't move here, obviously. Take this, take here, checkmate. So yeah. The whole idea is just to end this game as fast as possible because Paul Morphy wanted to watch that Opera House. And that's why we had the usual checkmate here, the Opera House Mate. You might see this in some of the games you play. You might never see this in some of the games you play. But if you really want to learn more about this game, I recommend you go check it out for yourself. You can look online for it. You can come back here and follow every move that I do so you can have it for yourself. But it's always good to go and analyze it yourself because it'll help you and me and everybody around you improve at chess. And that's the most important of why I made this video today. So thank you everyone so much for watching. I am Julian, and this is the Spencer channel. And I'll see you next time I see you. Which will that be? Good question. And will I edit this? I still don't know. I never decided.